Hello, everybody. I am Felicia Gallegos. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am the Outreach and Prevention Coordinator for the SAAVI office here on campus in Logan. And I am so happy to be meeting in this virtual space today for our very first coffee and conversation um, of the series that we're hosting this upcoming March and April. So I just wanted to start by introducing our office, and then I will introduce Kourtney, who's joining me today. She is a full-time advocate in the SAAVI office, and she's going to answer some of our questions today just about advocacy and hopefully help you all get a better understanding of what it looks like to receive advocacy and also just how we generally can better support survivors within our community. So to give you some background and understanding of the SAAVI office, in case you aren't aware of what we do and who we are and what we stand for, SAAVI stands for the Sexual Assaults and Anti-Violence Information Office, and we are a confidential and free resource for students, faculty, and staff for all 32 statewide campuses of Utah State University. So we provide free advocacy and therapy to survivors of all forms of interpersonal violence. And those can be primary or secondary survivors. So whether you yourself experience something, or maybe you know somebody who has, or you witness any form of violence. So bullying, stalking, hazing, sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating or domestic violence, or unhealthy relationships in general. Even if that's not an intimate relationship and maybe it's between roommates or family members, you're welcome to come and talk to someone in our office. You can receive services virtually or in person. And the best way to begin services in our office is to visit our website, which is SAAVI, SAAVI.usu.edu. And there's a little link on the side that says complete intake paperwork. You can go on there and put in your contact information and any other information you'd like to share at that point, and an advocate will reach out to you to get the process started. You can also give our office a call. It's 435-797 7273. Sorry, someone is here, so let me just admit that real quick. I got distracted. Or you can also email us at savi@usu.edu. So that is an introduction to SAAVI and what we do. And is there anything I'm missing or should add, Kourtney?
No, that was a great intro.
I give that spiel so many times, so sometimes I feel like I missed something. So that's why I'm glad you're here to check me in case. But just a reminder that we are here as a support. We're a great first stop for a survivor along their journey because we are a confidential space. We don't have to share any identifying information. We do report aggregate data in an effort to track patterns that are happening on campus. So like date, time, location, and nature of incidences that are happening, just so we can get an idea of what's happening on our campus, and then maybe notify the campus community or track behaviors if we, and change policing if we need to. But it is all non-identifying because we really believe in empowering survivors to take control of their healing journey. And if they want to report, we will help them do so. If not, then we don't require them to do so. So we're a great first stop to come and understand all your options, which is what our advocates are here for and what we're talking about today. So with that, perfect segue. I did that on accident, but let me segue into the conversation with Kourtney, and I will just have her introduce herself and her little bit of her background. Yeah, we'll start there.
Sounds good. Thanks, Felicia. My name is Kourtney Austin. My pronouns are she, her. I have been an advocate in the SAAVI office for 3 years now. My background is I have an undergrad or a bachelor's degree, I guess, in social work. And I started my internship at SAAVI and then was hired on full time. And I love working with SAAVI. I think it is an incredible resource to students, faculty, and staff here. It really, it's a game changer. Like Felicia said, it's a great first stop because we have the information that you need pretty much to figure out what the best course of action for you is. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I could go on and on about advocacy, and I'm sure we will later, but that's just like a little bit about me and my background in interpersonal violence work.
Perfect. Well, tell me some. So, just so everyone here knows, this is a very casual event, hence why I'm sitting here drinking coffee. The beauty of being virtual a lot of the times is that we can have these conversations in the comfort of our own homes. So, this is meant to be a very comfortable space. So, I want to get to know a little bit about you, Kourtney, outside of your advocacy. I think there's such a benefit in survivors, especially survivors who are looking to seek services at SAAVI. It's nice to know your like advocates and beyond. It can be scary to go and meet somebody who seems so official, especially when you're going to be talking about something so vulnerable. So I just want to humanize advocates a little bit because we are humans too. So tell us a little bit about you outside of just being an advocate. Like, who's Kourtney? What do you like to do? Things like that.
No, great question. I love that. I think the first thing that pops into my mind is I love that I live in Logan because we're close to Bear Lake, and I love Bear Lake. I love being close to the water. I love swimming and paddleboarding and really anything. Jet skiing, boating, like take me to a day out at Bear Lake and I am as happy as can be. So
even the drive there is beautiful. Just like have the windows down, music blasting.
100%. Yeah, the canyon is gorgeous. And so I love that. I hate driving, so the drive really isn't my favorite part. I'd rather somebody else was driving. So if you want to drive and go, like
Perfect.
I do love that. What else? I'm a big Bachelor and Bachelorette fan. It is my guilty pleasure. Love watching that. My family sometimes hates watching it with me because I'm always like, that's so unhealthy. Like, and I point it out and I'm like, oh, why are we doing this?
Most definitely. I have to take off my like advocacy hat and just watch it.
Yeah. But I do love that. I love Diet Coke, big swig fan. Could happily have a Diet Coke a day. If my wallet allowed that. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
I love that. Yes. Thanks. Thank you for sharing. I just think it's so important for us to humanize advocates, and just university administration and staff and faculty in general. Like, we're all humans, and should there shouldn't be a disconnect from students. We're all figuring out life together. So thanks
That's
for
actually one of the like my favorite things about Utah State is that it's like truly a community, and that like yes, there's students, faculty, and staff, and we're all like doing our own things, but like when it comes down to it, it is a community, and we can all be a part of that community. And I think that's really it's
right.
it's a cool to be.
Right. That Utah State family for sure. I went to school here as well and have obviously stuck around. So that's one of the biggest reasons for me as well why I'm still here. And something that's so nice doing this work specifically here. It's so important to have that community network of support. Okay. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but I'm looking over here because it's where my questions are at. Okay. So my next question for you is, why be an advocate? why it might seem straightforward, but for why for you have you chosen to be an advocate for survivors at Utah State?
I love this question. I think that there is really cool, like almost power, I want to say, in being a confidential resource. And that's one of the reasons why I stayed around as an advocate, is because I truly believe that every person should have an opportunity to tell their story exactly the way they want to and with no fear of repercussion.
Mhm.
Um, and and that's what an advocate is. They are there to listen and to support and to offer up different options and to help you make the best decision for you. We're not here to pressure in any way. We are here to walk beside you, behind you, wherever you need us to be. Um, and I want people to feel safe.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the reasons why I am an advocate, is I want everyone to know that there's a safe place with me. And that I will listen, and I will care, and I will be there to support you.
Right. Right. It can be so incredibly scary to come forward about your experience for so many reasons. I mean, it's personal. It's scary to think that you won't be believed, that you'll even be blamed and shamed for your experience. And so, yeah, I love that you say that to be that safe space for someone where, you can guarantee to a survivor if they come and talk to you, they don't have to worry about all of that, about not being believed or being unsafe speaking to you. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Go ahead. Oh, did you want to add anything? Sorry. I didn't want to cut you off.
You're good.
Um, so we kind of touched on it a little bit, but what services does an advocate actually provide? What does an advocate do actually?
Yeah. I feel like we use the term advocate thinking that everybody knows what we do,
Yeah,
and it's so not the case.
I know.
And And like even when I first like started my internship at SAAVI, I was always like, "Oh yeah, I know what that is," until I got into the role and I was like, "Whoa, there's way more here than I thought possible."
This
So
is
like
not what I
let's talk about it, because
expected.
I think yeah. Um I First off, we're here to talk about reporting options if you decide to go that route, okay? So all the advocates at SAAVI are trained to answer your questions if you would like to know about reporting to the administrative process through the Office of Equity, or the law enforcement process. Um, we can answer those questions. We can take you through what it hypothetically would look like, and just help you feel confident in either saying, yes, I want to go that route, or no, that route is not for me. We're never going to pressure you to go either way. But we do have the information you need if you're just like, I have no clue what to do. I don't even know what's out there.
Mhm,
Um, we have resources and connections that we can connect people to, if they have legal questions. So if they need to sit down with an attorney and just say like, hey, I don't know what to do. Here's my situation. We can go over that. And we can get you connected to those resources. We can get you connected to medical resources if you're in need of any medical needs. We can get you connected there. Um, and that could include anywhere from like STI testing and a sexual assault forensic exam, all the way to I just need to speak with a doctor and I don't know where to go.
mhm,
Can fill in any of those gaps and help you get referred to the right resource for you. Um, on top of all of that, we can help you if you are feeling unsafe. We can talk about what protective orders look like. and the different types of protective orders, right? There's a lot of different types of them. And so we can talk about what each of them are and what the best one for you is going to be if that's something you're interested in. We can talk about academic concerns, right? We have a supportive measure specialist from the Office of Equity that we could potentially go and talk to. We have the DRC, our Disability Resource Center here at Utah State, that we could potentially go and talk to, and we can talk about those options. We can also talk about what study tips are actually going to help you, not just like ones that were like, oh yeah, everybody says to do this, but like actually talking about what helps you and creating a plan, a study plan with tips and tricks that will actually help.
Right.
And I think that ties in with like time management and stress management, right? Being a college student or a person in life, right? We we have all these stressors coming at us from a million different directions, whether it's student life or professional life as faculty or staff.
Mhm.
Um, and so I think that's always important to talk about. And with that comes like realistic coping skills and grounding skills and self-care that isn't just like treat yourself, but like what is actually going to work, and what is it that you're doing to take care of yourself because you deserve that attention,
Right.
and you need it in order to be successful. You need to know what you're doing to cope and what you're doing to ground yourself, if anxiety or depression or stress or anything, right, those barriers that come through life, what are we doing in those instances? Um, so it's a lot of just like psychoeducation, which is like a big word for tools that you can actually use and that will help you figure out which ones work and which ones don't, so that you're not just like in limbo, like, oh,
Mhm.
maybe, but like, okay, I feel confident in what I'm doing moving
Right.
forward. Um, and then on top of all of that, we also can talk about what healthy relationships are and what unhealthy relationships are. And we can talk about the cycle of abuse. We can talk about power and control wheels. We can talk about anything and everything that you may need.
Mhm.
We go like, maybe we're struggling with a budget. Let's break it down. Let's figure out a budget. Like, we address any barriers that a survivor is facing. And if we don't have the ability to address them, we will make sure you're connected to a resource that will be able to address them. We're not going to leave you high and dry. We're there to make sure that everything's being met.
Right. Yeah. I often refer in trainings to advocates as professional best friends, um, because we are not your friend in the fact that we are professionals, but we're also not a professional that you come to and it's just like A, B, C, D, we move you through the train. Like we also care about you like a friend would. And so we're professional best friends as an advocate. And we really do care about your well-being. And it's not the beauty of advocacy is it's not like there's a box of services we can provide to you. And if what you need is outside the box, we're just gonna, sorry, we can't help you, right? Our advocates really do go above and beyond to meet the needs of the survivors that we're serving. And um, I know when I first started at SAAVI as an advocate, I would get the most random things individuals were stressing with, but that's what made being an advocate so fun because it was like, all right, that's what you're stressed about. We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure out a solution. And I think that that's really important for survivors to hear because a lot of survivors too often feel when they come forward and they are seeking help, they feel like a burden to the system. They feel like, and I don't know, yeah, if you've experienced the same thing. Um, but for any survivors listening to this, you're not a burden. And our advocates are there to ensure that you're not a burden and that anything you need, whether it's simply a conversation where you're just needing to sort out your thoughts. I mean, I can't tell you how many conversations I had where I just spoke with a survivor who was just trying to figure out what even happened. Like they couldn't even define their experience yet. They just needed to kind of like get all of their thoughts out and just talk. And then we have survivors on the other side of things who are maybe reporting to law enforcement, right? And they need assistance through that entire process, both understanding and then actually like going through the process. Wherever you're at, whatever you need, you're not a burden. That's literally why we have advocates hired, is to make sure that you don't feel like a burden through the system and that you are supported through, right? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I just want to emphasize that you don't have to know what you want in order to meet with an advocate. Like you can come in and say, I have no idea why I'm sitting on your couch if we're meeting in person, or why I'm on this Zoom call with you right now. Um, it's okay to say that. And we can just say, okay, let's figure
Mhm.
it out together then. Like
Yep.
that is such an important thing to emphasize, because you don't, we're not looking to fit you inside a box. You get to control your experience.
Right.
And I like that is so important. So thank you for bringing that up, because it's true.
Well, and I think I don't know how many times you heard it, but I've heard it so many times that survivors come into the office and, you know, we've helped them and I hear all the time, I didn't think my experience was bad enough to seek help, right? Our survivors will wait months, sometimes years to come talk with somebody because they wait until it feels like it's bad enough, right? That their mental health, their physical health has suffered enough to seek help. And I think like to all the survivors out there, there is no such thing as bad enough. Your experience does not have to fit a box. Your reaction does not have to fit a box for you to come speak with an advocate at SAAVI. Like just come on in. We want to help, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's beautifully put.
Um, so on that note, um, talking about advocacy, I mean, basically to sum it up, the sky's the limit with advocacy
Yeah.
work. Any assistance a survivor needs, you and the other advocates at SAAVI are there to help. Um, I do want to ask a few clarifying questions. So, what makes advocacy then different from therapy?
Okay. Great question. And it really comes down to therapists are trained to help process emotions. Okay. So if you're wanting to sit down with somebody and talk through why you're thinking this way, or you want to change your thought process and redirect thoughts and all those things, you're going to want to meet with a therapist, right? They're the ones that are trained to help you with those things. Advocates can help with everything up to that point. So a lot of the times therapy, right? You're opening Pandora's box, for lack of a better image, right? And at the end of therapy, you're like trying to stuff everything that just like came out of it in, right? So
To
the
go
tool,
back to life.
yeah, exactly. So the tools that you learn, those psychoeducational skills I talked about before, that will help you in putting back together Pandora's box on top of skills that you learn from a therapist. So they go hand in hand together to really help you take your experience, process it, and start that healing journey, right?
Mhm.
Both sides are going to help you in that healing journey. We just have different approaches and how we get there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so therapy is more like the deep processing of like feelings and emotions and all the trauma stuff, whereas advocacy is more of the like tactical, task supportive, skill building support type deal. So they work together. Can you do you have to do both? Can you do one or the other? how does it work?
You can do whatever you feel best doing. Like if you're not ready to sit down with a therapist and like dive into your thought process about your trauma, then let's just focus on advocacy. Let's talk about, what skills we can use. On the flip side, if you just want to go straight into therapy and you really just need that therapist, you know that about yourself, we're not going to get offended. Like we want to do what's best for you. And so if you just want therapy, not advocacy, great. Let's get you connected.
Perfect. And advocates can help with that whole conversation about therapy too, right? And
Yes,
like
100%.
how to get connected, how to know if you're ready for therapy, all that.
Yes.
Beautiful. Oh, so basically, advocates just know it all.
We pretend we do. And if we don't know something, we'll tell you, I don't know, and we'll go find out the answer.
Oh, perfect. We love that because you're human, like we already talked about.
We're human.
So let's see here. What other question do I have? So, how is professional advocacy, kind of a similar question, but different? How is professional advocacy, like what you do, different from like general advocating for a survivor? Like you see on social media all the time, like be an advocate for a survivor. And that means something different than like a professional advocacy, what you do.
Yeah.
So, what's the difference there? Can you
Yeah.
touch on that?
I before I talk about the differences, I want to really emphasize that like all advocacy at its core is practicing or exercising empathy, right?
Yeah.
The big difference is though is professional advocates, like you said before, we have extensive training and we work really hard to have a solid knowledge base to connect you to the right resources. Um, on top of being resource connectors, we also are trained in how to help you with skills that you need to start that healing process, right? So it's we spend time and long dedication in training ourselves so that we can be prepared at a moment's notice for any situation. Um,
Mhm.
and yes, we're practicing empathy, and yes, we're supporting and we're caring and all of those things, but on top of that, it's a dedication piece, if that makes sense.
Right. Most definitely. There's just that added layer of, knowledge base that doesn't come with just general advocating for survivors. But my next question leads me to how you started to answer that, which is, overall advocating for survivors comes from this core of empathy. I love that.
Yeah.
And it leads me, the next question is, what can individuals do every day to advocate for survivors? Um, and I
Yeah.
want to look at this from two ways. I think let's start by looking at it, if a survivor comes to you and discloses a situation or an experience to you that they've had, in that moment, how do you respond? How do you advocate for that individual? Um, and then after you answer that, let's look at it more broadly, just generally, what can we do to create an environment in our communities of advocacy for survivors? So, first, let's look at if a survivor comes to us, our friend, a family member, um, what do we do to advocate for that person in that moment? And sorry, before you respond, for everyone watching this, if you, as we've been talking throughout this presentation or this conversation, if we say survivor and you're automatically picturing in your head a female individual, I do want to challenge that narrative. I want you to challenge that narrative because for us, we see survivors of all gender identities, all sexual orientations. And so there, sexual violence and relationship violence doesn't know gender, doesn't know sexual orientation. It can happen to anybody and everybody, any age, any identity. So please keep that in mind, because I think that's a crucial first step in being able to respond to survivors, is knowing that anybody could be a survivor. Because if we think that, men can't experience violence, then if a man comes to us, we're not going to believe them. So we have to start by knowing that anybody can be a survivor in our communities. But then I'll turn to you, Kourtney, to talk about, what can we do to respond when a survivor comes to us.
Yeah. So I think SAAVI has on their webpage, they've got a section that says, I believe it's give help.
Yes.
As the way that it's phrased. And there's some great resources on there. I'm going to briefly touch on them, but if you want more information, go there. There's lots of really great resources there. But one, we're responding with empathy, right? We are listening, we are supporting our friends, our family members, whoever's coming to us. We're withholding judgment. And as hard as it is, we really should try to be refraining from giving advice. I think that's one thing to point out about being an advocate, is that you are not an advice giver, whether it's professional or in your day-to-day life. Like, advocacy is not giving advice. It's listening, and it's helping somebody understand, a pro cons list, or helping them decide what their best action is going to be by helping them understand what's in their hearts and minds and is best for them.
Right.
And so
I like that you noted that even as a professional advocate, you're not telling people what to do. You're not telling survivors. It's not your role.
No, not at all. Our role as advocates, or in this case, our role as a loved one, as a friend or a family member, is not to question or figure out what happened, right? And try to get to the root of problem. It's just to listen. It's to listen and to validate their experience, to say, I believe you, to say, I'm here for you. And to let them control the conversation, right? We want to put as much control back into a survivor's hands as we possibly can.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. I think, one phrase that we hear all the time in this field is like, a survivor, through their experience, whether it be, stalking, sexual harassment, dating violence, whatever it is, they've had the ability to make their own decision and be in control taken away from them. And it's really our responsibility as the person they're coming to for support to give them that power back, to really empower and empathize with them. So,
yeah,
put.
I think kind of on top of that too is if a friend were to come to me and say, this is what I experienced, and it's a form of interpersonal violence, there's a part of me that wants to we need to go talk to somebody right now. And I cannot believe that happened. That's so not okay. There's a part of me that wants to respond that way, right? Because it's not okay. Those things shouldn't have happened. But we have to remember, we're there to respect our loved one's decision, right? So if they're there just to get it off their chest, we're there to say, I believe you. I'm here for you. We're not here to say, we need to go talk to this person and this person and this person, and we're going to do this and we're going to do this, because that's taking more control from them.
Right.
We don't want that. We want them to feel power. And I don't want to use the word empower, because that's almost like I'm giving you power. You already have power. You have it. We're just going to help you use it. Right. And so I don't know. It's just important to validate, to listen. And then when they're ready, and if they ask for it, connect them to somebody who can give them the response and the things that professional advocates can do, right? Help them walk through all their options and everything else we've talked about already today. So
Right. And that's why I think I mentioned at the beginning of this, I really do believe outside of working for SAAVI, I do believe that SAAVI or places like SAAVI, confidential advocacy spaces are such a good first step for a survivor because as a loved one that a survivor comes to, you likely don't know all of an individual's options. You don't, even me myself, I know a lot of the options available to survivors, but I have too much of an emotional connection to be able to effectively professionally advocate for that person, right? Because I just have too many emotions involved. So even for me, who does know resources, but especially for individuals who haven't been trained about all the options and resources available to survivor, your job is not to pretend like you do know. Your job when a survivor comes to you, and it can be hard because you do want to have the answers for somebody who comes and tells you something so vulnerable. You do want to have the answers, but your job really is in that moment just to provide that support. And I think I've heard from survivors time and time again, when they first tell someone their story, they're not so concerned with what that person says, but they are concerned, but they do remember how that person made them feel, right? Maya Angelou has that quote. You'll never remember what they said, but you'll always remember how they make you feel. And that is definitely true for survivors. So as that initial person that a survivor comes to, just make sure that you are doing everything Kourtney said to create that environment where they feel heard and believed. And then I will always encourage getting that survivor, unless if they choose so, to offer the option to meet with an advocate, because that advocate can inform them confidentially of all of their options. And then that survivor can make informed decisions going forward of what they want to do. And I just will always, it's just, yeah, so important, like you said, for that control to be put back in their hands. So let's go to the second part of that question then. How do we more generally, because I think a lot of people, I don't think, and there are very few people that would disagree, well, that would not want to stand up for a survivor. I think that most people agree that violence is wrong. But they don't know what to do on the day to day, right? To create an environment. It's like if somebody comes to us or we see something, okay, in that moment, I feel equipped. I know what to do. I know how to respond to a survivor now. I know if I see something happening in front of me, I'm going to say something. But how do I generally on the day to day contribute to an environment that advocates for survivors?
This is like such a long
Yeah.
conversation. We have a whole hour.
We're like almost up on time. I ask you this.
Uh,
That could be an entire episode. Maybe we'll do another one, but another conversation. But
there's some, I think it comes down to us never being afraid to raise our voices for honesty or truth or compassion against injustice, period, right? To say nothing, you are saying something, right? If you're just backing away from saying nothing. So I think with that being said, it's creating a life or a space where somebody would feel comfortable to talk to you. So it's, if something is said in a joking manner, to coin your phrase that you love to use, to respectfully challenge what that joke or anything like that's being said, right? It's having conversations like we're having today with friends and family members and talking about hard things that are really important for people to understand, right? This shouldn't be a taboo subject. It should be something that we're talking about, and we're giving our voice to the injustice, to the cause, right?
Right.
Um, what would you add to that?
I mean, I would agree. I think it is all about using your voice when you can. And I think like when you start to pay attention, it will be incredible to you how often there actually is space for you to step in and say something. I never planned to do this work when I was going to school. It kind of happened. Um, but when I started doing this work and started realizing, how many things in our culture are normalized that are actually harmful, right? Like making jokes about survivors lying about their experiences, or um, jokes about, or like sexualized jokes, just these comments that lessen the experiences of survivors. It happens all the time, all the time. And especially when you're watching movies, TV shows,
Yeah.
it happens all the time. And if you start paying attention, you will see it and then bring it up. I mean, when I watch movies and TV shows, I will just point it out with whoever's in the room watching with me. Like, "Oh, that's interesting." Like that comment that was just made is very, like, I was watching a movie the other day and they made a joke about someone who was a transgender. And the whole joke was that the individual was transgender. And I was like, is that still funny? Like I don't think that's funny. And that was the only comment I made and nobody like commented back to me, but just those little challenges that you can make really do make a difference. And even if nobody says anything back to you, there might be a survivor. There likely is statistically a survivor in the room who sees that you stood up for them or for that cause. And the more people that can slowly say something, the more we create a culture that is intolerant toward violence, um, and safer for survivors. I would just echo
Yeah.
that. Okay, so we are almost out of time, but I just want to conclude with the question: if there was one takeaway from this conversation you want people watching to take away, what would it be?
I I think just come talk to us. We are here for you. We want to talk with you. I know it can be scary. And I'm not trying to minimize that, but we are here when you're ready. And I think the second thing is to echo what you said earlier, is that what you're going through, if you're questioning it or if you feel like you're going to be a burden, like that's not true, and that whatever you went through is enough.
Mhm.
Um and that you have a safe place here at USU, and it will always be with us.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Cheers to that. For anybody who has coffee.
Cheers.
Courtney doesn't drink coffee, but water. No,
I can,
seriously.
I can my
I was expecting you to have a swig, honestly, but it's okay. In all seriousness, yes. And I retweet that. Um, thank you so much for this conversation. This has been recorded, and so it'll be shared on SAAVI's website. So for individuals who are here, if you want to share it with anybody who you think it might be beneficial, please do so, and we'll be sharing it as well. Um, I also want to share again just the ways that you can get in touch with SAAVI, and access our services. The best way, if you're wanting to get connected to survivor services quickly, is to visit our website, which is saavi.usu.edu, SAAVI.usu.edu. And there is a link on the side that says complete client paperwork. Click on that and then fill out your information. There, you can fill out as much or as little as you want, and then an advocate will reach out to you. and set up a meeting, either virtual or in person, whichever one you're most comfortable with. And then other ways to contact us is you can call our office. It's 435-797-7273. Or you can email the office at SAAVI, SAAVI, at usu.edu. We are hosting another coffee and conversation next Wednesday, St. Patrick's Day. The topic is Get Lucky, a conversation on consent. So that should be fun. Please join us and bring your friends and share it on social media. But thank you so much for your time today. And thank you so much, Kourtney, for being an incredible advocate for the SAAVI office. Thank you to all our advocates who watch this, or previous, past, future. We are so thankful for what our advocates do for survivors on our campus community. So thank you so much, everybody, and have a wonderful day.